Tell you about what's going on with Diddy. Lawyers for Sean Diddy Combs will be in federal court today.
They're coming as they appeal the disgraced hip-hop mogul's conviction and prison sentence. Briella Thomasetting, what's going on with this?
Rosanna and Dan, good morning. So Sean Diddy Combs' lawyers will try to persuade a panel of 3 federal appeals court judges that he was treated unfairly at the trial that sent him to prison on prostitution-related charges, and they say he should immediately be released or freed and resentenced to less time. Diddy is not, by the way, scheduled to appear at today's court hearing, which is slated to begin at 10 o'clock. In written arguments, Diddy's lawyers claimed that the recordings of sexual encounters between his girlfriends and male sex workers amounted to amateur pornography that were protected by the First Amendment. They also say the judge in the case unjustly let evidence surrounding the acquitted charges influence his punishment. Federal prosecutors opposed those claims, writing in court papers that Diddy's recordings don't make his case a free speech issue. They said if his creative, elaborate, and highly staged sex acts meant that they were protected by the First Amendment, then, quote, brothels offering elaborate and staged scenes for individuals to have sex with women for payment should claim the same protection. Last year, a jury found Diddy guilty of 2 charges of transportation to engage in prostitution. A judge sentenced him to 50 months, or just a little over 4 years in prison. The 56-year-old former hip-hop mogul was acquitted on the top charges of racketeering, conspiracy, and sex trafficking, which carried the potential for a life sentence. At the trial, prosecutors argued that Diddy committed verbal, emotional, and sexual abuse against several women dating all the way back to 2008, forcing them to participate in so-called freak-offs or days-long sex marathons while he recorded. His ex-girlfriend, Cassie Ventura, among other victims, testified during that trial. Diddy is serving his sentence at a low-security federal prison in Burlington County, New Jersey, after previously being held at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn. As things currently stand, he is set to be freed in April 2028, followed by 5 years of supervised release. We'll see if today's proceedings change any of that. Dana, Rosanna.
Okay, thank you so much, Briella.
There is a good chance that Diddy could be eating dinner at his home tonight, a free man. And that's because an appeals court is now hearing the review of the trial in which Diddy was convicted of violating the Mann Act. And his defense lawyers are making 2 arguments that could sway these judges and make them overturn the conviction. Let me explain both. So the first is that the defense says that the violation of the Mann Act is to prohibit the transportation of prostitutes across state lines, and it's typically for commercial purposes. That's where they've used it before. In this case, the defense is saying this is nothing more than kinky porn, and kinky porn is protected by the First Amendment. Now, that may sound crazy, but I'm going to read you something from their brief. Listen to this. They say, freak-offs and hotel nights were highly choreographed sexual performances involving the use of costumes, role play, and staged lighting, which were filmed so Combs and his girlfriends could watch this amateur pornography later. Pornography production and viewing of this sort is protected by the First Amendment and thus cannot constitutionally be prosecuted. So what they're saying is, look, if you want to use the Mann Act to prosecute people who are moving prostitutes across state lines for commercial transactions, which again is what it's usually used for, that's one thing. But here, there's no commercial purpose. Diddy lost money. He ended up paying the prostitutes. The films were never distributed to anybody. The defense is saying it was for his pleasure and the pleasure of people who may have been participating. So they're saying, look, this is like any porn. It could be OnlyFans. It could be anything like that. And all of that is constitutionally protected and shouldn't be prosecuted. So that's one argument. And I gotta say, it is an interesting argument. The prosecutors are saying it's meritless, but I wouldn't be so quick to judge it that way. So we don't know what the prosecution is going to say beyond that in court, but these judges, as I'm recording right now, the judges are hearing these arguments.
Let me tell you something. If they release Diddy today, hopefully gas prices will go down, because the price of baby oil is going sky high through the roof. It's going to be a whole lot of shiny suits in the streets, dancing, doing Diddy bops. Oh my God, it's going to be a damn circus. Now, honestly, I don't think he's probably going to be out today. I feel like everything that Harvey just said, it sounds feasible. You know, it kind of makes sense, but if that was the case, that probably would have been fought during the case. I don't know why this, part didn't come up during the actual trial, for them to, utilize as a defense to say, hey, listen, this wasn't anything commercial. This was him just having his own live situation. Be completely honest, we have to take into account that Diddy was on trial for violating the Mann Act. He was not on trial for all the other evil things that he's ever done, right? He was not on trial for whooping Cassie's ass. He was not on trial for organizing, all these things that he's allegedly done, organizing this person's death, that person's death, stealing money from artists, not paying artists, all these things that we've been hearing about Diddy for however many years. That's not what he was on trial for. He was on trial for trafficking, because that's the definition that they put it under. Okay? Crossing state lines, having somebody cross state lines for the purposes of engaging in sexual activities. And because of that, he received, I think it was like 5 years, 4 years or something like that, plus time served. So 2 years and some change and he'll be out. Considering all the things that he did that I just said that he wasn't on trial for, him only having to sit down for 2 years, it's pretty sweet. But obviously he's pressing the point. He's like, no, I'm trying to get out of here today, and we'll see what happens. We will keep you posted. Stay tuned. Lock in.
If I had a machine that could travel through time, I would go back some years with a Mac and a 9, 2 Uzis with a few grenades in my hand, 8Ks, HKs, more Ks than the Klan. That's fuck racist. A nigga gonna do against me with a musket. I'm talking about them days they would stone you in public. You probably go back in time to meet Jesus Christ. I'd ask Jesus for help to steal Judas Ice. Amen.
You got music, you got a business, you got a product or service, but you're not making enough money off of it because you don't have enough exposure. DM or email me right now to get promoted on my platforms. I have 850,000 subscribers on YouTube. I have 460,000 followers on Instagram. I have the following that you want to get seen in front of. I was able to increase the sales of this Amazon book off of a YouTube sponsorship with just 30,000 views. And I was able to give this artist 15,000 views with the Instagram repost in less than 24 hours. So DM or email me at bookingcranklucas@gmail.com right now to get more exposure and more money for your business.